Hi, everyone. My name is Silvana, and I'm your district secretary for this year.
Hello, everyone. I am Webmaster Ishita, and I am your district webmaster. And today, we will be doing a Keymmunity tutorial, so you guys know the in and outs of Keymmunity. And yeah, let's get started. So starting up, we have our login page. For this, you should have an email account created. If you don't, please ask your lieutenant governor as soon as possible, or you can even reach out to me. The only two people that should have Keymmunity accounts are the secretaries and presidents. And if you forgot your password, I'll click forgot password, email address. And once you put in your email address, it will send a confirmation link to your email. So I'm going to go back to my login.
Okay, so now that we're here on the screen, we're going to be using this test club called Savannah High School. So if you attend Savannah High School, you're going to scroll down and see that they haven't been doing any of their Pride reports. So let's click on the August or the July, whichever. Okay, so this is what you're first going to get as your screen. There's a lieutenant governor section, which is basically just so that we can keep tabs on the lieutenant governors. So the first thing you're going to see is to your left, there's going to be two check marks that it says, has your lieutenant governor contacted your club this month? And the answer should be yes. So you're just going to click on it and it's going to turn blue. And then it says, did your club receive a monthly electronic bulletin? This is going to be your newsletter. So if your lieutenant governor has sent out a newsletter that month, then you're going to click yes. And again, it's just going to turn blue. Then suggestions for your lieutenant governor. This is basically for any comments you have, concerns, questions. If the lieutenant governor isn't reaching out enough, or if they could start doing more fun activities at their GCMs, you can leave it there for them to read. Then you're going to move over to the right side of the screen where it says membership. The number of paid members who participated this month. You must include an accurate number. So if you have 60 members participating, but only 20 paid their dues, then you're only allowed to put 20 because it's the number of paid members who participated that month. And if you have any general comments, if you have any concerns, something that's not working for you, something you would like your lieutenant governor to reach back to you on, leave it in your general comment section. Or if, for some example, let's say COVID hits again, or a new virus, and you guys aren't able to do any service, you would write, hi, our school has been closed due to this. We have not been able to meet or do any service. And then your lieutenant governor can take it from there. So below, if you scroll down, there's two sections, meetings and projects. You're going to click add meeting. And there's going to be, scroll down a little bit more, there's going to be a type. You're going to click on type. First thing you do is there's a drop down bar. So if you have a club meeting, any of the meetings that you guys have, it could be just your board to plan something, or it can be your entire club. Either that, or you can have multiple clubs. So anything like your zone's KC or Spring Zone Rally, or a DCM that your division has had that year or that month, anything. Then there's also Kiwanis family meetings. If you're attending a Kiwanis meeting, you can also put that there. But let's go with club meeting for now. Then there's a number of members present. Again, it has to be the paid members. So if there's only 20 out of 60 who have paid their dues, only 20 were technically present. Then the date, let's say this happened today, August 1st. Was your Kiwanis advisor present? It's not necessary for them to be present, but if they were, just make sure that you click yes so that we know that they went. Your faculty advisor must be present, or another adult must be there. And was a guest present? Let's say if you invite me or Webmaster Ishii, we're going to be counting as guests. It could be the mayor, it could be anyone. And you could click that as yes. And comments, in the comment section, you just want to give a 2 to 3 sentence brief summary on what it is that your club did during that meeting, whether it was a service project or if you just talked about collecting dues, anything like that. Even if it was a short meeting, make sure you put it there in at least 2 to 3 sentences. And you're just going to click the add meeting button for every time that you've had a meeting that month. Remember, if we're filling it out for August, we're filling it out in September, which means that those August Pride reports is everything you did in that month of August, not the month of September. It can be a little confusing, but you'll get the hang of it.
In this case, if you, for example, accidentally clicked add meeting, but it was unintentional, you can click the trash button and it will delete that meeting. And then you would have the one meeting that you already filled out.
And then if you scroll down to projects, it's basically the same thing. You're going to click add project, and you can use the little trash can buttons that you see on your right to delete anything that you didn't intend. So basically, if you have a project, first you're going to put the project's name. So this could be any service project. If you ran in Relay for Life, if you did a back to school project, something like that, collecting backpacks or anything, any service project that you've done can be as small as just in a club meeting or in participating in a DCM. Then you're going to write the date. If it happened over multiple days, there's add project date. So if you had multiple days of meeting, then you just do that and you put number of members present. Again, has to be paid members again. So we'll stick with our number of 20. And here's where it gets tricky. So you have to multiply the number of hours by the numbers of members present. So if you did a total of 2 hours, let's say the event or the project took 2 hours, we're going to multiply 2 times 20, and you're going to get your 40 hours that you've done. Click 40, perfect. Again, we're just making sure that service hours are hours that you have done completely doing work. For example, you cannot award service hours for donations. It's very honorable to donate, but for example, you're not doing any actual work for the community other than paying for something. So let's say if you did a backpack drive and you donated a backpack, but then you spent an hour filling up that backpack, that counts as a service hour. So we're making sure that we're logging those hours correctly so we don't have anything incorrect in our database. We're going to scroll down a little bit more. Plus, if you want more information, you can go to the Florida Key Club website.
And all the information, how to get into Keymmunity, all the Word document for service hours are provided on the website.
Then we're going to scroll down. We're going to go to our description. Basically, you're just describing what you've done. If it's Relay for Life, you say we made teams with our school and we ran in the Relay for Life. We spent about 2 hours actually running, and then there was another 2 hours spent setting up a booth. Anything like that, you put it there in your description. You can talk about where it was, when it was, all of that stuff. In your additional comments, you're going to talk about if it went well, if it didn't go well, what you would change, what you would fix, if there was a problem that's not necessarily reflected on the actual Pride report. Let's say it rained that day and only 10 out of the 20 members could go, but they had planned to go. People got sick, something like that. You can add it in your additional comments. And then there's a tiny, tiny button down to your left that says Governor's Project. This year's Governor's Project is Nature and Nurture, which means that anything that falls under the category of helping our environment or making sure that we stick up for mental health, anything like that counts under our Governor's Project. So let's say you plant trees. You can click that little button and those hours that you guys did for that service project, the Governor's Project, will count towards the Governor's Project. And then there's also the type of project. There's hands-on projects, which is anything like filling backpacks, shoveling dirt, I don't know, making sandwiches, anything that you're using your hands for. There's a donation drive. Again, we can't give hours for donations, but you can get hours for the actual planning of the donation drive. So if your club's executive board spent 5 hours planning this drive, that counts. But anything that you donated does not count as hours, unfortunately. But again, there's examples like book drives, canned food drive, and then there's a charity fundraisers like Relay for Life. So if you run a mile and you get sponsored for something, that counts as a charity fundraiser. And again, there's a little add project button at the bottom that you can add for each project that you've done throughout the month. Other than that, that's pretty much all you need for your Pride reports. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to your Lieutenant Governor or to me. And if anything, any service project, anything that you feel does not fit on this Pride report, make sure you contact your Lieutenant Governor so they can guide you through how to put it on your Pride report and make sure that you guys are really shining with your service. And these are due the 10th of every month.
Yep. And if for any reason you started your Pride report and you want to come back to it later, there's always Save for Later, which you can click. Or if it is the 10th and you need to submit it on that day, you can go ahead and submit everything if you are done with your Pride report.
Awesome. So now we're going to move on to our officer information forms. So we're just going to click. So what you're going to see is make sure that the year is 2022 to 2023, which is the current year. If it's later, make sure that you just have it up to date versus on a later year, because if you change that, then it's not going to show up in your system. You're going to click edit for that year, and this is what's going to show up. If your club has an Instagram, you're going to put Instagram. There you go, Savannah.KeyClub. It's not mandatory for your club to have an Instagram, but it's always nice to see what you guys are doing. If you have a website, put the URL. There we go. .org. Secretary, treasurer, faculty advisor, and quantus advisor. So make sure that you have all of those. We'll start with president. You want the first and last name of your president, the email, and the phone number. It's basically just contact information. You're going to repeat that for the vice president, the secretary, treasurer, editor, webmaster, for everyone. When you're with your class directors, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, what you should do is, as soon as you have your elections, sit down with your new board and make sure that you have this all filled out for the new year so your lieutenant governor can get in contact with you throughout the summer. And as soon as school starts, so you're not missing out on any service. Then as far as advisors, not all clubs are going to have secondary faculty advisors or secondary quantus advisors, but you should have at least a primary quantus advisor and primary faculty advisor. And again, you're just going to do first name, last name, email, phone number. Make sure that the email you put is maybe not one connected to your school, because a lot of schools do block the emails that come from Key Club International. Therefore, you won't be getting any of the emails. And all of these should be in before September, just to make sure that your lieutenant governors are not having any trouble contacting you. And then if, let's say, you don't have an editor yet, but you have everybody else's information, you're going to click save at the top, and you can always come back to edit it later. And again, if you do have a secondary vice president, secretary, treasurer, anything like that, those are technically not counted by Key Club International, but they do appear on the officer information form. So just make sure you have that in case for some reason the primary secretary isn't answering, anything like that. We make sure that we have everybody's contact information. And it's simple as that. It should take maximum 15 minutes.
And if for any reason, your secondary secretary is not present anymore, you can just delete them. Same thing with this button too. Yep. As far as Keymmunity goes, when you do submit a Pride report on time, it will show that it would be green. It would say turned in on time, or it would be green text. But if you did turn it in late, there would be an indicator. Your text will be red. So please make sure you're turning everything on time. And when it comes to Keymmunity issues, please make sure that you are logging into Keymmunity at least 1 to 2 days before your Pride reports are due. And this is so if you forgot your password, for example, or you're having trouble editing things out and it's a technical sort of issue, I would be able to assist you before they're due and everyone would win. So just keep that in mind. And yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ishi. And for everybody who's watching, make sure that if you have any questions, you can reach us at secretary@floridakeyclub.org or at webmaster@floridakeyclub.org.
Yeah, and hope to see you all soon.